Oh, I wasn't recording.
Really?
Hello and welcome to the How to Film Weddings podcast. John Bunn here, joined by my good friend Nick Miller. What's going on, Nick? How are you?
Dude, I'm so good. I just got back from my vacation in Alaska. Highly recommend. Never been. You should go. Alaska. Good place.
You were in Alaska all week. You had no internet. It was like the longest I've gone since knowing you without being able to just like daily text message. I had a little bit of withdrawals.
I think I remember my wife asking me if I was missing communicating with you because we do it like all the time.
Yes, we do. So it was weird, but to help me, I was also out of town at a really cool wedding filmmaking workshop.
You were?
I know. Venture Workshop in Denver. I was out there with like 75 people, and to be honest, I didn't know what to expect and was just kind of blown away. You know, Christy and Kaylin with White and Reverie, and I mean, so many others there, like putting on this incredible workshop for wedding filmmakers. They asked me to come out and host a podcast. We've talked about it a lot, but this today is the intro for that episode. It was me sitting down with all of the speakers. I felt like I was Jay Leno or Jimmy Fallon sitting there interviewing like all these celebrities. It was kind of humbling. I mean, it really was to sit up there with everybody.
Yeah, because who are you up there with? With Jordan Bunch and Scott McKenna and Kaylin and Christine and David Reynosa and Jay Worsley and Seth Dunlap and Matt Johnson. Am I missing?
Got them all.
Man.
No, it was like I'm sitting up there and we fielded questions from our Facebook group, our Instagram page, and then we took questions from the live audience. And it was kind of crazy. I asked people to raise their hand if they had listened to the podcast, and literally like every single person there, you know, raised their hand. They made me feel kind of like a celebrity, and I didn't know what to do with myself. I'm going to be honest. I got there. Matt Johnson was like filming me as I walked into the door. I was like on camera, and then like this line of people wanted to like come up and say hello to me. Everybody was so kind and so like thankful for what we're doing. And I kept saying, I wish Nick was here because I wish like he could feel some of this too. But it really like was the exact vibe of, you know, the kind of thing that we're trying to do here. And we were so honored to be asked to come out. It was a great episode. I mean, if you're ready, let's jump right in.
Well, I am ready to jump right in. I am ready to jump right in.
Okay.
But first, I don't know if you've heard, we have launched a website.
You want to talk about the website?
Yeah, I think that we should. Howtofilmweddings.com.
That's probably a good call.
Howtofilmweddings.com is now live. It's kind of your hub for all the How to Film Wedding stuff. There's links to our Facebook group, link to our YouTube channel, link to our podcast, and also we have opened a shop. Yes, that is right. A shop where we are currently selling email templates and wedding day questionnaire, and to celebrate the launch of this for the next few days after the release of this podcast, everything in our shop is 10% off.
That's right. And the shop itself, you know, I mean, we will always do this podcast for free, but this shop is kind of for those looking to take the next step when it comes to their business. We have 40 email templates beginning to end of everything from the initial inquiry all the way up to like a 1-year anniversary email. So you can customize this Word doc, put it into your CRM, and have all these email templates. We've put, you know, our minds together, and we've put our email templates together and kind of made the best 40 from both of our companies. And then the same thing with the questionnaire as well. It's a questionnaire we send to brides a month before the wedding. It asks all of the questions, all of the things, so you don't forget anything for the wedding day. And that is, where is that at again?
It is howtofilmweddings.com.
Exactly. So jump on howtofilmweddings.com, enjoy this episode from Venture Workshop, and let's jump right in.
Okay.
Hey guys, welcome to a live recording of the How to Film Weddings podcast. Give it up, Venture Workshop. Yeah. Hey. This is probably the coolest thing that's like ever happened to me, being up here with all these awesome people. So thank you guys. Thank you, Venture, for having me.
I'm just going to breathe heavy in the mic the whole time. Is that okay?
It's just in the background of the podcast the whole time.
It's okay, right?
How many times is she going to...
3 times is kind of funny. 4's like, okay, how many times is she really going to do that?
Don't worry, I really want to do it. Guys, I'll get more professional. I'll get my feet not propped up.
I don't think so.
Fine.
Well, hey, the point of tonight is to field a lot of questions from you all. How many of you guys have had a chance to listen to the How to Film Weddings podcasts yet? Yes! Wow. I love that. What is that? That is a podcast that we started 31 weeks ago, and it's kind of blowing up. It's pretty awesome. You guys enjoying it?
Do you have a Facebook group?
We do have a Facebook group. We just passed 1,500 followers today, so I'm pretty excited about that.
Because it's a great Facebook group to be part of.
It is.
You guys are awesome.
We try to be very active. Man, there's so many shameless plugs already. This is great. Yeah. So search How to Film Weddings if you're not a part of that group. Our goal with How to Film Weddings, Nick, who's not here, we should probably say hi to Nick. He's in Alaska. Nick and I met a year and a half ago. We did a shoot together, and it was like, man, we could maybe do some education stuff. Like you're good at shooting. I'm pretty good at business. Maybe we could just be normal people and talk about wedding stuff with wedding people. So everybody up here except for one person has been on our podcast so far because he's declined us several times. I'm not going to mention Seth's name. It's no, it's totally good. But our goal is to help. I mean, this is my 13th year in business. I've done pretty much everything wrong that I could do with shooting and in my business. And so we want to be community driven. And that's why we loved being a part of Venture and why this is so cool for us. So thank you, Venture, for letting me be a part. So before we get going, I'm from Oklahoma, and we don't like to show up anywhere without a gift or we want to give something away. So I brought a couple things from Oklahoma that I'd like to give away. They're nothing crazy. I mean, I already gave the good gift to Matt. So if you want to see what that is, just look at that. But first of all, I would like to give a gift to whoever has traveled the furthest to get here. So where have you guys? Where are you from? Dominican Republic. That's pretty far away. Where are you from? Panama. You guys might have to share this little sticker from Tulsa. So, I mean, it's not that great of a gift. So really big boy. Okay, is that anybody else from further than that? All right, so who was it? All right, come up here. I've got a sticker that says Tulsa, Oklahoma. I just think I put these on my Pelican case everywhere I go, so I wanted to bring one. And then I also, give it up for this guy. I also wanted to give away, last night, who all was out at karaoke? Because that was pretty lit, if I might say. There is someone out there that I've deemed the karaoke queen. Yeah, oh yeah. So I have a small gift for her. I don't remember her name because I think her name's the karaoke queen. So I have a button that says "Someone in Tulsa loves me" that I want to give to you. It's a magnet, so I want you to come up and get it. She bought us an extra hour of karaoke last night, so give it up for her. Just real quick. The karaoke queen, ladies and gents. Someone in Tulsa loves you. The karaoke queen. So the point of tonight for me, I want to do kind of a live. I mean, this is crazy. This group that's up here. So it's if I had all these people in one spot, I would just want to ask them a lot of questions. So I've fielded questions in our group, on our Instagram, on our Facebook, all that good stuff, but I want to take questions from the audience as well. So today, 60, 75 minutes of time and just hanging out, asking any questions, and let's do it. You guys excited about that? Sound like a plan? All right, let's go. Does anybody out there have a question to start out with for any of these people, or do you guys want me to jump straight to some of these questions from IG? That's good. That's a deep question. Jay has the answer to that one. How do you film? Okay, yes.
Yeah, so my question is, we're all really inspired by everybody that's up there. We all love your work, but I want to know, who inspires you guys?
That's great. Take it away, guys. Who inspires you all?
I'll go ahead and start this one. So there's a company here named White and Reverie. And they really inspire me with their fashion sense. Not so much their films, but their fashion sense. No, all right. In all honesty, for me, the people that inspire me are I love movies, just movies in general. Movies are just so crazy because they're just stories that have these crazy budgets. So people like Christopher Nolan really inspire me. People like Steven Spielberg really inspired me, but if we bring it down a couple levels, there's this one guy. His name is it's Antoine James or something like that. I don't know what his name is, but he is so crazy what he does, and he just jacks me up about life and films because he is so talented. I'm gonna look him up right now on Instagram because you need it. We got time.
Gonna keep
We got 6 minutes
keep
over
it
there.
moving here.
While I'm looking this up, another filmmaker for the wedding biz that inspires me is Sculpting with Time.
That's true.
Like, Jordan and I were actually showing...
Stole mine. We were actually showing
Jordan and I were showing
Scott
Scott some of the stuff, and we're like, watch this stuff. It will make you hate what you do because it is so good.
That's how I feel about this.
I'll add
Antoine Johnson's. Look him up.
If you can spell that. Good luck with that. I was actually going to say the same name, but I'm going to say also one of my bigger inspirations is Sarah Pendergraft from Penn Weddings.
My hometown. She's awesome.
In my opinion, she's the best storyteller in the industry. She's just phenomenal at what she does, and her husband also does great work. But I give most of the credit to her because she's the one who started the company and who does all the editing. So they're both awesome. But props to Sarah Pendergraft.
Sweet, yeah. For me, it's a lot of movie influences. I like, just as Jay just said, Christopher Nolan's amazing. I love his storytelling. Interstellar, the first time I saw it, I was like, okay, I want to make movies one day. This is freaking awesome. I love Wes Anderson as well. Just like he's so good. He's amazing. For DPs, I really like Roger Deakins. He DP'd Oh Brother Where Art Thou and the new Blade Runner 1949. 2049. He's amazing. And Emmanuel Lubezki, is that you pronounce it correctly? But yeah, he was a DP of Revenant and Birdman, and just the way that he approaches his cinematography is really interesting, and it really is captivating to me. But yeah, those are some of my influences. And is it Ricardo? Ricardo. Creative what? He's so good. Every time I see his little Instagram or his Vimeo teasers, I'm like, I'm never gonna be that good. That guy's really good. But yeah, those are my influences.
Anybody else have something stand out?
I mean, okay, I've got two for you guys really quick here that are awesome wedding filmmakers. Is Josh Helton here? Did he already leave? He might have already. He lives in Fort Collins, so he has like an hour drive back, so he's probably not here. A Little Long Distance. Write it down. Look him up on Instagram. He's here tomorrow. Mustache. He is like, his films make me and Rachel cry like babies. Like his emotion he's pulling out from wedding films. Like you watch anything, you're like, oh, it's so good. Okay, amazing. Other little known filmmaker that I do like week or monthly wedding film reviews on my YouTube channel, and so sometimes a lot of people submit, they're like, "This is my first wedding film I've ever done," and sometimes people are like, "Yeah, here's a wedding film. I've been doing it for a while," and I'm just like blown away, like, "Holy crap! This is one of the best things I've ever seen." Derek Chan. I want to say he's in Toronto, or he's in Canada. He's Canadian. There's so many talented Canadians. I watched like just one of his films, and I'm like, I'm your biggest fan now. I love you so much. Like I like follow him on Instagram and like creepily message him, and I'm like, you should have come to Venture, and he's like, next time, man. Okay, like it's a little weird on like by me, but he's amazing. Highly recommended.
I'm a huge fan of this guy over here, Forestry Films. I think we can all agree they do phenomenal work.
The man.
White and Reverie is obviously incredible. I also think Outside In Studio, I think, are incredible storytellers as well. I like their work. Fan. Yep, see, more Canada.
It's all Canada.
Oh, when we skipped a couple people over here. When it comes to inspiration, though, I feel like I am pulling most of my inspiration from our couples. And I didn't really realize this until I verbalized this until earlier this week. Someone asked me, and I was like rambling. I'm so sorry to that person, but I was rambling trying to find my answer, and I was like, oh, really? In reality, I think I'm pulling most of my inspiration from like the couples that we're working with, and so I think that that's why some of our films are so either earthy or so elegant or upscale or luxury or whatever, and it varies so much with our films. And I think that that's kind of weird because sometimes it doesn't feel super cohesive. I wouldn't recommend it 100% all the time if you're wanting like a really cohesive brand. But lately, I just feel like that's one of the like where I'm pulling most of my influence lately. It's just I want to get to know the people I'm working with, and I want to feel like what emotions are they experiencing? How do they interact together? And like what are their personalities like and things like that. And you can catch that on like pretty early on. So yes, outside of films, outside of like just a lot of incredible films and things like that, and a lot of incredible filmmakers. I mean, a lot of the ones stated are some of my answers as well. Sculpting with Time, Forestry, you killing it lately, and just I mean, even stuff that Seth is putting out, even if it's not weddings, I feel like I'm still pulling so much inspiration.
We're unsure about him, but I guess.
The lowest of the lows. No. Seth is not, actually. He's incredible. And so, we could talk about companies all day. And some of the companies that I'm feeling most inspired by lately as well are people that I really see are getting a really awesome work and life balance. And that are really great with business too. And so that's kind of what I'm feeling most inspired by lately by companies as well. So,
what are you guys' influences?
So Matt took my little long distance because I love their work is just insane. I love how they just show wedding days authentically and nothing's staged and everything's just like I feel like I'm at the couple's day. So I whoa. Hello. I also really like still motion. They're not in the wedding game anymore, but when I watch their wedding films, like 5 or 6 years later, they're amazing because they take so much time with their couples and they put together they treat it like a real wedding, like a real movie, and it's so engaging, it's so emotional, and I always just pull from their stuff.
I'm inspired by my wife. It's good.
Aww.
I will say, I cannot edit like her, and I actually learned how to edit from her doing the master class. I would say if I were to edit our films, they would be epic, but you wouldn't feel anything. She makes you feel something, so she's got a really great touch when it comes to editing. So, babe, you inspire me. And I guess at different seasons.
Clear out of here now.
Yeah, but that's my answer.
Awesome. And for future questions, we don't have to all answer. I mean, I think that was good for the first one, but that way we can get past like 2 questions.
Take control of your podcast, John.
That's what I'm, Jordan. This one's mine. Okay. All right. Anybody else have more questions out there? Want to jump in? Yes.
For those of you that shoot with your spouse, how do you balance work, running your business, and that? Because I think you can get caught up treating each other like employees, and that carries on to the rest of your life and everything. So maybe some challenges or some ups and downs that you've learned how to balance that.
Yeah. I would say, who needs love?
Hey, okay.
Not me.
I have a really
Just
good
buy a
answer
Tesla.
because I technically let go my wife in the business. She wasn't fired; she was just let go. So I have the challenges part down pretty good. My wife never picked up a camera, and she still is very camera ignorant, I guess you could say. And for me, careful. This isn't public, right? No? Yeah, I didn't think so.
This is definitely not being recorded, so you're fine.
I'm totally cool. I think for me, my wife at the time, this is before we had kids and everything. I think for us, our challenge was whose role was what, and we never really identified that. And then by the time that we were starting to do that, she got pregnant with our first kid, and then she just wanted, she wanted to focus on that, and I focused on the business. So I think for me, the biggest challenge was really identifying what role what person was doing and who was strong at what, and we just never got there. That was our challenge.
That's really good advice. To identify what you're going to be doing. Yeah.
To me, I don't work with my wife anymore, but I know that the biggest struggle is you have to be able to separate employee and husband and wife. Like, my wife didn't like working for me at a wedding day. And so that would translate to the house, which is why it didn't work. So if you are able to be like, when you're working together, I may be direct, I may be like, sure, I may be because we're working, you'll be fine. But if you don't do that well, I think it's really tough.
When it does work, it's like you have a mind meld on the wedding day. It's incredible. Like I shoot with Rachel, and it's like, oh, I didn't even need to think about what she's doing right now. I know exactly what she's doing, and she's going to be perfect at it, and I don't have to worry about it at all, which is so wonderful. Alternatively, we work in a bedroom in our house, and now there's just a baby bassinet like 6 feet behind us with like a baby inside it too, and so it's definitely set a date night. I would say that, like, we need a day where we're not working and talking about work. Okay, great, let's do that, and that's so helpful.
Yeah, I was gonna say we have a 2.5-year-old daughter, and our biggest thing that we had to adjust, because it was making it really difficult for our company to sustain at the same level of time and still spending time with our family, is that we kind of had to budget our finances and maybe take one extra wedding to take care of like a year's of babysitting for nights that we need to spend time together, like Matt said. So we'd have to have a date night that we'd set apart, have some more income for babysitter or childcare throughout the week. That really helped us start having a consistent workflow for our work, and also, like Christy said, we kind of figured out the areas that we're both best at and didn't try to compete in those areas, but empowered each other in those areas.
Like, for example, I have literally never color graded footage, ever. I've never adjusted audio, ever. If you guys have questions, a lot of people ask me questions about it. I'm like, I honestly, I have no idea. You can ask me, and which is funny because we have so many, like the color grades that we have. That's because I said, Kaylin, I realize that this is something you love to do. I never want to be stepping on your toes. I want you to feel empowered in it and feel like awesome, and like I'm never gonna come in and say you're doing this wrong or anything like that. And at the same time, Kaylin has edited maybe 2 or 3 maybe films that we've done, and I think that they were teaser films and not actual highlight films. Yeah. And so I feel like we. Yeah, Kaylin did the epic stuff and a lot of Instagram stuff. He edits a lot of Instagram stuff. But for us, it's been really nice and healthy for us because we both can be bolder personalities, and just having that space to not step on each other's toes, or for me to come in and say, well, I think I actually know better than you on this. It kind of gave us space to fail and space to learn and grow and things like that, which I think was really, really nice. One other thing that I really think is important to recognize is that it is not for everybody to be working with their spouse. It is amazing for some people. As a matter of fact, Kaylin and I have a healthier relationship now that we work together than when we had jobs when we weren't working together. And I think that that's, whenever we first started our company together, there was a lady that was having a meeting with us, a momager actually. And she made a comment. She goes, oh, you guys are married and you're working together. We'll see how long that lasts. And I just looked at her like, challenge accepted. And I feel like I've, since then, we've spent a lot of time just researching, trying to figure out, you know, do we have the right personality types to be doing this? Because not everybody does, and that doesn't mean your relationship is less strong. Sometimes it's healthier to have that space. As a matter of fact, it's sometimes healthier for us when we do give each other space, and I'm editing at a coffee shop and he's at the office or whatever. And I think it's really just important to remember that it doesn't mean that you have a more successful, a stronger, more beautiful relationship when you can work together, because sometimes you will have a stronger, more beautiful relationship if you don't work together. So just evaluate and remember that those relationships are oftentimes more important than any entrepreneurial feat that you have. Your relationships with people is always a little bit more worth striving for, in my opinion. So yeah, just remember that. So.
Great.
I think I want to add one more thing.
No, go ahead. Yeah.
So yeah, working with your spouse is absolutely incredible. But I think for us, one of the key things that we've always had to check ourselves on is what is the heart behind like what we're actually doing, and are we working together for why are we doing this? And being willing to, if a challenge comes or a struggle, being able to lay everything down for our family, for each other. So like, okay, cool, we have this huge position in the industry or whatever it is, but our marriage is what comes first, and our family is what comes first. No matter how many Instagram followers we have, and no matter how many speaking engagements or whatever it is, being willing to lay it all down for the sake of our family. I think that, just if you do decide to work with your spouse, realizing, hey, are we willing to do that if something like that were to happen? And if you're not, maybe you shouldn't be working together and pursuing this thing that has become kind of like a god in your life that you're not willing to lay down for your marriage. So I think that's been really key for us, and it's been hard to realize because oftentimes we get so caught up in just this whole show, but realizing, hey, this is going to pass, and industries come and go, but our marriage and the legacy that we're leaving is what's going to last beyond all that.
That's so good, right? Man, I'm like getting emotional over here. Like, I love my wife. I want to go give her a hug. I've got a question for Jordan from our Facebook group. We mentioned the Facebook group already, right? From Erica Grove, she says, and a lot of people ask this kind of a question here. I've been a solo shooter for 11 years and just now looking to hire a second. Any tips on what to look for?
For me and the way that I have built things, it is very much about attitude and coachability, desire, motivation. I don't care to work for people who don't have a desire to learn and to grow. And so I'm much more interested in hiring people who have those qualities rather than someone who maybe comes with a lot of equipment or someone who has a good skill set. Frankly, I just don't care about those things because in my experience, more often than not, those things oftentimes come with a bigger ego and a lower desire to be willing to stretch and grow in new ways. Obviously, the people who are here in this room don't represent that because you're here to learn and to grow, and so that's amazing. But whenever I sort of have had those experiences where I went a different route, I ended up being frustrated, having footage that I couldn't use as much, and just really being very unhappy with the results. And now, because I went a very different route and took, most of my team, like probably actually 10 out of 12 of the people on my team had not touched a camera before they came to me. And now I would put them against, almost any shooter in our city, and they are going to give me much better results because they came with the really good attitude, the intangible things that I couldn't really teach, and then I could teach them all the things that they needed to know to get great stuff out of them. That's a more difficult road in the beginning, but the payoff long term is so worth all that it takes in the beginning to get there.
I know the people that I've hired as second shooters that like came from a film school, and I'm not saying that's bad, but like they felt like they knew a ton, were the hardest ones to work with and weren't moldable. So that's huge. Anybody else have anything to add to that question before I move on? Okay.
I don't hire a ton of second shooters, but in any aspect of where I've hired anyone, it's hiring someone that doesn't have an ego and hiring someone that's just a complete sponge. It's just like, hey, I'm gonna let go of the standard in which I've kind of built within my head to film this thing with you or work with you. Finding people, that just let go of the ego and just like try to learn as much as they can from you. Like that's more valuable to me than hiring someone that's like familiar with Red cameras and like has been doing this for 10 years, because generally those people have their set ways and it's hard to teach them something because they're not in a mindset where they want to learn something new. Yeah. So,
and that's also the great answer that if you're looking to start second shooting for a higher end company. Yeah. I know probably most of us would agree, like a person that comes just eager to learn is so much more like yes than the person that comes, it's like, I have all this experience, I charge this. It's like, well, are you fun to work with? Like, are you actually like a normal person? And I would much rather have someone inexperienced help any day. Like reach out to people and say, I'll come and just hang for free. Shows that you want to learn. Mm-hmm. And then it opens up opportunities, I think.
That's great. All right, from the audience, any more questions? Boy, this is awkward. Oh, there we go. We got one back there. Yes.
I would just like to hear from a couple of people, like, what is your end goal with your company? Like, where do you see it in like 10 years from now, 15? What's that goal?
So the question was for the listeners. What is your end goal? 10, 15 years, where do you see yourself? Kaylin.
I'm gonna defer to Seth to start this.
That's great.
Cool. This mic's a lot louder. I'll speak further away. Whenever I originally started shooting weddings, my original goal was to shoot for about 4 or 5 years and use the income that I was making with those weddings. All right, cool. Was to use the income from I'm just gonna use this microphone right here. Was to use the income from those weddings to basically fund my gear so I could get into the commercial world where I thought that was going to be the end all for me. I thought I was going to be a commercial cinematographer, and that was basically what I thought was going to be the end of my career. I was like, I'm going to do this for the rest of my life. Got into that, and then I got very dissatisfied. I was like, oh man, I want to pursue other art forms. But right now, my hope within 10 years is that I'll be shooting feature-length movies and TV shows and acting in them as well. So that's kind of where my astronaut goal is. So,
and I'm gonna piggyback on Seth's because ours are very similar. And for me, weddings were never what the end game was. Like, I love doing weddings, and I'm still doing weddings, and it's great. And I'm in a spot where I can choose the couples that I do weddings with right now, but it was never like what I wanted to do. When I'm 55 years old, I don't feel like I'm going to be shooting weddings. For me, it was never even commercial work. It was always being able to create something that was like inside of me that I just had to get out, and whether that was for through music or through writing or through films. My end all goal has always been to get what is inside here out to people to see, to move them and inspire them. And hopefully in the process, I can, feed my kids and feed my wife and myself, So whether that's through weddings, whether that's through commercials, or whether that's through creating feature films, like I would love to create a feature film. I would love to be doing shows on Netflix or Hulu or Amazon. But whatever I'm doing, I just hope that it's getting whatever is here out to there. That's really all I ever want to do.
I would say for me, part of my why is I always like to be challenged in moving forward. So if weddings no longer does that for me, I'm going to look elsewhere. For now, I still enjoy weddings, and I'm looking to see what's next. I would say for our company, it's hard to look at anything past 2 years for us because everything has been changing so fast, drastically, with moving, with family, starting a family, all these different things. So for me, I like a challenge, and something that I haven't tried is kind of shooting a little bit more in the higher end luxury weddings, and I'm curious to see what that might look like for another year. Maybe I do a few and I don't like them. Maybe that's a direction we don't want to go as a company. That's something we're interested in. I do really love education, and I love software and coding and stuff like that. So I'm interested in expanding more things in the software world and creating content for filmmakers or anybody that will make their life easier. So I would love to see our company maybe shoot 5 to 10 weddings next year, and maybe building up a team or community of people that we can help elevate to also film amazing work and create amazing content alongside that. I do get a lot of satisfaction whenever I see other people become successful, and if I can play any small role in that, that would be awesome. So that's kind of mine, which is actually a little bit different than Christie's, and we run the same company. So
to me, the answer is easy. It's just I want to enjoy what I'm doing. I think there's no money that makes you happy. There's no job. There's no situation that makes you be like, that's it. Because you'll always just keep raising your bar of how much money you want to make. You have to find what your happiness actually is. To me, it's family, it's my faith, it's life. So if I'm not happy doing what I am doing, no matter how much money I make, I'll still move on to something else, because money just doesn't solve it. Period.
That was really good.
I really want our team has become very much like a family. And especially our core team, our full-time team, and kind of an extended family with our part-timers. But I want more for them out of life, and I talk about this a lot. Is just a desire for them to have success in life, it feels it's different because they're not that much different age from me, but at the same time, it sort of feels like a dad mentality that I have with it. It's like I just really want them to succeed. And it's really fun because as they succeed, we succeed more as a team, and all of our stuff just keeps getting better and better because we all have this sort of attitude of supporting each other to help each other succeed in whatever ways that looks like. And so that has been super fun. And as far as like the specifics, I just don't know. I'm like you guys, some of you guys said like everything has changed so much in the last couple of years. I just have no clue, but I'm just excited for what that journey holds, you know?
For me, I definitely know. My answer is very comparable to Jay's, actually. I feel like as a human, if I'm creating, I'm happy. If I feel like I'm not creating things, then, oh my gosh, I feel empty, and I feel like I'm not living what I'm supposed to be doing. And so for me, it's been just really interesting over the last year or so. I feel like there was, right before the first venture, actually, I woke up one September morning and just felt gut punched with this feeling like life is like, try more things, expand, keep trying more things. Like your life is going to be different in several years, in kind of an amazing way. And I just have this strong feeling like mine and Kaylin's 30s, as we move into our 30s, I turned 30 this year, they're going to be some of the most exciting years of our lives. And so I've just been like prepping. The first thing I did for it was just get uncomfortable. I joined a soccer team. And we lost every single game. It was amazing because I was uncomfortable, and I was feeling like, okay, sometimes it's really easy to get like super comfortable in doing the same job and doing especially if you feel like if you're really enjoying the work that you're making and things like that. You're like, okay, and I know exactly we're in a rhythm. And so I did that. I've joined acting classes. I'm now doing like hobby acting on the side. I've been in several short films and even a commercial and things like that. And so for me, as long as I'm creating, I'm going to be happy. And whatever that looks like, if that's creating a character and being in a film, or creating different things with Kaylin has been like killing it at business lately. I feel like he's just starting to like dive into it and try to understand it a lot deeper than what we used to, because we joined this for art. We joined this because we were like, this is a really fun thing we're getting to do together. So the question is, where do we see ourselves in 5 years? Kaylin is very, very right. I feel like sometimes I'm looking ahead thinking, gosh, I can't even see what's 3 months ahead of us, because I feel like our lives are always changing. There's always something happening that's unique and different. And so it is very, very smart to have a 5-year plan or a 2-year plan or a 10-year plan. And we talk about it regularly, but we still haven't nailed down what we think it's going to be yet. And that's okay. I think that's like fine to be in that weird limbo stage, but we're definitely in that stage right now where we're like, what does that look like for Kaylin? What does that look like for me? And things like that. So yeah, that's a complicated question for us. As long as I'm creating, I'm fine though. Yeah. What'd you say?
But a good one.
But a good one. Yeah.
I'm going to take a question from our Instagram. Is that all right? Did I cut off somebody?
Matt wanna go?
No. This one's going to be, I think Matt will enjoy this one. So on our Instagram account, we get lots of DMs. We get some really devoted fans that maybe send us 2 to 3 messages a day, which is great. And I hope I've responded to all you guys that send the messages. But when I posted these, I posted on our stories to ask a question to the venture attendees. This person sent in like 17 questions, so I wanted to get to a couple of them. And I'm just going to read them off.
Are they here?
I'm going to read them off, and then I'm just going to. So the first one, just what do you hate about venture? Was the first one. Who is your least favorite teacher at venture? When will John be cool and grow facial hair like Nick? Which that one hurt. I can't grow facial hair, guys. Is John really the boring half of How to Film Weddings? Is this a roast of John?
Based on your Cardi B performance at karaoke, absolutely not a boring part. Absolutely not boring.
Yeah, okay. The last one is this a public roast of John Bunn? And the guy his name is Huey's Matt. Huey's Matt ask all these questions. So I don't know who this guy is, but he's a devoted fan. So no, But he really did ask all these questions. Matt Johnson, thank you for those questions.
Over the past day.
Really
just
appreciate it.
Anything that came to mind, I'm like, yeah, this will be good. We should ask these.
I don't know if I really want the answers to these questions. I do have a question that is specifically for you from a real person that really asked real questions.
Okay.
Named Trelawney. She says, how do you tell a client you don't think you would be a good fit to work with them?
Ooh, this is good. This is really good. Okay, I literally had this question yesterday in my talk, and then Jay hijacked it and had an even better answer. So I'm gonna let Jay take this. Actually, I'm gonna defer because it was so good.
No. You give your answer. I'll give my answer.
Let him hijack it again.
Okay, fine. Then my answer was literally hey, we will. If we have a couple that comes to us and we really feel like we're not going to be the right fit for them creatively because hey, they're just hey, we just want you to film a wedding ceremony, or we don't really want to have necessarily a lot of story elements in our wedding film. That's totally fine. That's okay with us. But we want to then not just say sorry, we're not the right fit for you. Okay, we want to say we're very sorry. I don't think that we're necessarily going to be the right fit for to film your wedding. Also, we would like to give you some referrals, and then we ask what their budget is. We ask the exact date and venue of their wedding, and then we have a Facebook group that we go to depending on which city we're in. We have Facebook groups for all the cities in Texas, basically, and we'll say, hey, this wedding's happening this date, who's available? And then we'll get 20 people that reply. And so we're not just leaving this couple high and dry. We're also and here's 20 people that are available that would love to film your wedding. And that works out really well. And then Jay came in.
I was in there. It was funny.
A wedding day is a bride's planning her wedding and emotions are on high. So of course we have that business decision to make. Are they a good fit or are they not a good fit? But for me, I never want to tell somebody that I am not a good fit for you. We are not a good fit. You're not a shoe, okay? You're so much more than just a shoe. So I look at it as
Then he hangs up.
I want you to have the best possible wedding film. And based off of what we're talking about in our conversation, I know that I can't give that to you. So I take the approach of trying to empower them with you deserve the best wedding film. And that's not something I can give you. But I know that these people here probably can give that to you. So here's this list of people, and you'll get the best wedding film.
You deserve forestry films. So
you just give them a list of the people who you most hate in the industry.
I'm booked. Sorry, I'm booked. No, I'm just kidding.
I think that's such a good response, Jay. And we definitely do a similar approach where we're just listen, we could film this for you, but I want you, there have been times when we've had full-blown consultations with people and they just sit and say all of the opposite of what our company is. And I'm did you even watch our films? And that's okay. To me, one of the best ways to handle that was I basically said, listen, we could make a pretty film for you, but watch these 3 filmmakers' films. I think that you're going to resonate with their style a lot more. I think that they're going to capture all of these things that you're wanting on your day a little bit better and more accurately than we would. And that's basically how we've handled it, which is the same thing as Jay. I think that that's the thing that you never want to do is think that they are wrong in any way, that your style is much more superior than theirs or anything like that. I think you should never imply that to a couple. There's nothing wrong with them or their style or their preferences or their budget. If their budget is what it is, that's what it is. And that's okay. Hopefully they find somebody, but don't think that there's something wrong with their style or think, I could never film a wedding like that or anything like that because they're humans, they're real life people, and treat them like that. And so to me, it's just been here's a better fit. I think you would like them a lot better, and that's worked really well. So to make sure that it's not implying that there's something wrong with them, which I think is important.
Great point. Thanks, Matt. You're welcome. Thanks for all the questions. It means a lot. Anybody out in the audience have a question? Yeah.
What jobs did you have right before you stepped into full-time filmmaking?
All right, so the question is, what jobs did you have right before you stepped into full-time filmmaking?
So I was pretty much a full-time street magician.
That's the best answer.
That's the best.
True story.
David has the best answer.
Look him up.
Yeah, no, don't look me up. I was known as Magic of David. I had full braces. My mom accompanied me as I went to our downtown area. And she respectfully kept about 6 feet from me with her camera. And she's like, I'm so proud of you. You got this. You got this. And I'm like, you want to see a magic trick? As I like fumble my cards, and this was, I don't know, I was like 14. I was known as the magic kid in high school. I started a magic company. I was deep into this. A magic company. We sold
Is this
tricks.
on YouTube or what?
Almost.
Jordan just searched Magic of David Reynosa.
It's not on YouTube? It's on YouTube.
It
We just
is
gotta
on
find it.
YouTube.
We gotta dig.
Did you just post a link to that? If
Everybody
anybody
Google
finds it,
David
can you
Reynosa
post a link
magic.
on the Facebook group?
Hey.
Thank you.
I thought I was going to be a magician full time. I auditioned for the Magic Castle. It was a whole thing. Then I got a job at a baseball snack bar, and then I've been doing weddings ever since. So.
And now you make magical films.
Yeah.
I see what you did there. I see what you did there.
See?
Man, I can't follow that. I worked for a record label for 5 years, and also built websites for a lot of different companies. So I got deep into the coding world, and I enjoyed it a lot. But yeah, working in a record label was great because I could also use the background of audio and music and how I integrate that into video. So I did that 5 years before pursuing video full time.
I got started in college filming weddings, so came time to graduate, and I was like, if I can just keep this going. My friend Alex, he's a photographer. He comes to me at wedding, and he's like, bro, if we can keep this con going for like the next 30 years, like we don't have to get a real job. We gotta keep this going, okay? Because like we work 1 day per week. This is so great, and I'm like, you're right. This is great. Like it's so positive. Oh, I love that.
I was a dorm director, so I was the dorm dad. Did
You
4
look like
years
a
of
dorm
that.
dad.
Yeah, that's why I have all these gray hairs, and why people think I'm like 10 years older than I am. So this is the dorm dad thing.
You look great.
How old does Jordan look?
26.
Yeah, let's take some guesses from the audience. How old is Jordan Bunch?
Who thinks he's over 35?
35, no.
Okay.
They're being nice now that
Anybody think he's over? Anybody think he's over 40?
over 60.
Really quick, just so you guys know, I am actually older than Jordan.
Wait, Kaylin is older
So
than
am I.
Jordan.
And I'm older.
Wait, how old are you?
Everyone's mind's blown right now.
32.
32.
Shut the front door, he said.
That's pretty impressive. You look great.
Good job, dorm dad.
Dorm dad.
Awesome for 45.
I was living in Charleston, South Carolina, and I worked at Chick-fil-A for about 2 years. Then I moved
How
to Orlando.
awesome would it have been to like pull up to him at Chick-fil-A?
Oh.
Here's the thing. It was awesome.
Of course it was.
And I got that job. I walked into Chick-fil-A with a freaking Chick-fil-A shirt on, and I was like, hire me. And they were like, done. They hired me on the spot. They did an interview, and they loved me. But
of course they did.
Did you work there, Seth?
2 years, and then moved to Florida, got another job at another Chick-fil-A in Orlando. And I was there for about 3 days. No, 2 days. And on my lunch break, I was like, I'm not going to do this anymore. I'm not gonna, and I just left. Did not tell anybody. And they called me, and I didn't answer the phone. And then they called me like nonstop, and I lied my way out of it. I said there was a family emergency, and I moved back to Charleston. And that was a lie. I lied. But then
Seth is a liar.
I was like, you know what? I'm not gonna do this anymore. And then I started shooting weddings. And that was my first job.
His brother.
Oh, yeah, I had one other job. I did installation. I helped wrap installation for 1 day, and it was miserable. My skin was covered in
You had a job for
fiberglass.
2 days
it was
and
the
for
worst.
1 day?
Yeah.
That's
Well,
awesome.
Chick-fil-A was 2 years, and then plus the a day and a half. But
Wait,
yeah.
this is funny because your brother sent us a video, a slow motion video of you playing ping pong, or his brother was like, his brother Jeremiah was like, hey, you know, I know you guys do videos and stuff like that. My little brother's moving to town and he likes to do video as well. Do you think you could mentor him? And he sent us a couple slow motion ping pong videos, which I thought was so precious.
I had like a longboard, and I got like a shot of him jogging, and I was like riding the longboard, and the camera was like, it's pretty
And then
great.
of course we were like, the talent's there.
We loved
know
it. No,
what you
it's
guys
like
saw.
as soon as you meet Seth, you're like, okay, yeah, you're part of the team if we can have you. So
He is programmed now, though, so if you do tell him thank you, he will say my pleasure. Just thanks for teaching us. It's my pleasure.
It's my pleasure.
Oh, what did I do before? I actually worked for a merchandising management company. We did like online distribution for companies and stuff like that. I know.
Okay.
But we did like merchandise. We worked a lot with YouTubers. So like Live Lava Live and like all like a lot of those like back in the day. Oh my gosh, Antoine Dodson. Yeah, we would work with these YouTubers and help them make a lot like more money, and either by management or through merchandise or whatever. We also worked with a couple bands, A Day to Remember, and like heck yeah, and Carl in the back, and it was really really cool. Honestly, we had a really young team of people, and I loved them. I still keep up with a lot of the people there, but I just felt like such a strong emotional shift towards doing wedding films very suddenly. And I was one of the best salesmen. Like I was top salesman, always bringing home like first place trophies. I was really great. I was like, I just want to work with all the people. I love people.
That's
and
why she handles our client communication. She makes him sales.
well, sometimes. Anyway, so that's what I did. It was really fun. It was a great young crowd. Awesome.
Yeah, that's awesome. Anybody ever?
I was a worship leader full-time for the last 4 years before I went full-time to this. Then I was a full-time musician before that. So all music.
That's awesome.
Guitar. Acoustic.
That's everybody?
Prove it. Does anyone bring the guitar?
Serenade us.
No?
Sing us a song.
Air guitar solo.
Oh, yeah.
So,
Oh, yeah, Jay.
I went to a fire academy to become a firefighter, and then I didn't want to be a firefighter. And then I went to school for sports medicine and kinesiology, and did not want to become a physical therapist. So then I started a fitness business and became obsessed with my body, and just worked out
What a
like
coincidence! I am too.
Crazy.
Body as well.
And I was that guy, and I was miserable and depressed and hated life. And then I was very involved with my church and was making videos and playing music, and was a worship pastor for a little bit, and realized that I just cared about people and cared about making them feel awesome, and cared about like creativity and art, and just did whatever I could to get it out. Somebody got me into video at church, and I was just start making videos. And then my wife said, "Hey, why don't you do this professionally? Why don't you like do weddings?" And I'm like, "You can't make money doing weddings. You cannot do that." And I'm like, "Well, let's just do it." And so I had her do it with me. And while I was building my wedding business, I was working a really crappy job in the mortgage industry just to pay bills. And then the wedding business blew up, and then I quit my mortgage job, and then here I am now.
That's great.
John, what was your job before wedding films?
I was Super John for the 4 and 5-year-olds at my church. So I ran around in a green unitard with a yellow cape and taught people about Jesus.
Nobody pays people to do that.
I can't demonstrate it anymore. That's none of your business.
He does.
I want photos of John in that outfit.
If you're Facebook friends with me, you can search back far enough.
I want Jay's firefighter calendar pictures that I'm sure exist.
It's our Venture 2020 calendar.
I have one for Christine from our Facebook group, from Eve Myers. She says, this one's for Christine and any other women. Best way to manage inappropriate comments or behavior towards you at a wedding?
Oh, well, first of all,
that's a good question.
That is a good question. For the most part, I feel very unbothered by stuff. I don't like. For me, when people say things, sometimes I'm like, oh, whatever. I don't really care. So for me, I think just if it is incredibly inappropriate, I'll call somebody out. like I'll say something back and just be like, what do you think you're doing? I think sometimes I can get, if I want to be, I can be rather intimidating. For the most part, I'm not, but if I need to be, I will be. And yeah, for the most part, I just brush things off because I know that it's gonna happen. And I'm not gonna just get, like for me, I think with managing stress, it's like choose the things you're gonna be stressed about. And for me, some things I'm just like, I'm not gonna stress about that. Like whatever, just walk away or call them out if I need to. So do not let people belittle you. That is a good opportunity to stand up. Or, like for me, I would never let someone belittle me. Or if they're making like sexual inappropriate comments, in that situation, I'd be like, what do you think you're doing? Or whatever. Or I don't know. Yeah, that's kind of a...
I know it's kind of a heavy question, but I thought it was a good one to ask.
We do have a clause in our contract too that if something happens like that,
get out,
we do approach either a coordinator or a couple about the incident, and if it doesn't stop, we stop filming and walk away.
Yeah. Or if they're saying anything, I'll just be like, I know. You think I'm beautiful? I know.
And you know,
and then walk away, hair flip and walk away. Just be like, thank you for that compliment. I feel like that's more so what I'm doing is like, yes, I accept your compliment. Goodbye. And then leave them in my fairy dust. I really don't do that, guys.
I think it's important for the men here too to also, like, if you see something like that, like be there to kind of protect, women, and because like I'm usually working by myself or with another dude, but like there's sometimes where working with a photographer and she's being harassed by somebody, and I think it's important for the men to be able to step up and just be like, hey, like it's not a place for this kind of stuff, or it's not a place for comments like this, whether it's online or in person. I think everybody just needs to, I don't know, protect everybody.
Good guy Jay coming in real strong here. Thank you, Jay. That was great.
That's awesome. Let's take a question from the audience. Yeah.
So what was the spark that helped you guys make the decision on becoming filmmakers?
So the question, what was the spark that helped you want to become a wedding filmmaker?
For me, it was all about time. It was not a money thing of that I wasn't making enough at where I was at, or that I wanted to make more. It was simply that one side of our family lived in one side of the country, the other was the other, and I always was stuck with having to be at the church for Christmas and Easter and never be able to visit like my other side of the family. So for me, it was entirely about time, wanting more time back in life, and the only way I could do that was to make my own hours. So I said, I'll make it work. That was it.
So, Christy, you said, yeah, it's like now the real magic is filmmaking. And I hate to have the cheesy answer, but I was doing magic and I loved like playing, like, it's become much more. It's so much deeper now. But I was like, I can like their emotions and everything, but the real magic is inspiring them and just giving them something they'll never forget and changing their life and giving them a legacy. Yeah, it's pretty embarrassing.
That is really cheesy.
It's really bad.
Man, I am moved. So moved.
But yeah, that was a spark.
I was a wedding photographer, and I remember this was actually, I was doing this, part-time, and I was the dorm director, so I'm sitting in my office in the dorm, and I'm looking on Facebook, and a wedding film popped up. I had never seen a wedding film before, and it was by a guy in Dallas, Clint Brock, you know him, and I was moved to tears, and I was like, oh my gosh, I've like been doing wedding photography, and I like look at all these other amazing wedding photographs, never once been moved to tears. First wedding film I ever saw, moved to tears. I said, I have to figure out how to do that.
That's cool. That's a Clint Brock, Candlelight Films, if you want to look him up. Mm-hmm. Still shoots on Canon, but no, I love him. He's like, I know him. I can say that. He's fantastic. Love him.
I didn't even know that wedding films existed until my brother got married. He's a music producer, and he traded recording an EP for a wedding film. And the guy that shot it, I am still really good friends with him, and he inspired me so much. I was like, this is crazy. I didn't even know that. Whenever I thought of making video content, I thought of like you can only make video content if you're in Hollywood. Like there's only that level. I didn't know that there was all these different levels between that. So whenever I saw my brother's wedding on film, I was like completely blown away. And that was kind of the initial spark that started me wanting to get into wedding films.
For me, it was a little bit twofold. It was fun to do an activity with my wife, and so we still had other jobs, so it wasn't like we relied on the income from it. So as we started shooting a little bit more, it was still fun, and then we realized, okay, now it's starting to get stressful with all the editing and another job. So then the second fold answer would be when we went full-time versus continuing that same layout. We decided to go full-time whenever we had about 3 to 4 months of income saved up with other jobs or something that we knew that if we failed, or if we went 3 or 4 months and used up all our extra income, we could always revert back to another job or something that we've already had in the past. So it was like a little bit of a safe risk, but it was definitely a risk. But there's something special about once you take that risk is that you put everything on the table. And you kind of come alive in that moment because it's risky and it could fall apart or it could be amazing. And for us, once we made that jump to full time, everything took off like crazy because we started putting everything we had into it, all of our time, all of our connections. And I think that's what started helping us move from just a job with another part-time job into full-time for us.
Yeah, but what triggered us to be in weddings specifically is we actually had a friend that I grew up with that had a spouse that passed away. They had been married for 1.5 years and it was a freak accident. And I cried for days. She made a comment, I just wish I had more photos of him. And that was what kind of triggered us. That was like kind of the thing that like sparked it. We of course cried. I would like come home from work on my lunch breaks and just like lay on my bed and cry about how heartbreaking that was to me. And we bought a camera very quickly after that, obviously. We got a Canon T3i, a little cutie. And we started making some films. And my best friend, she is a photographer, Darling Juliet Photography is what she goes by. And she kind of peer pressured me into doing some filming stuff. And I honestly thought I was going to do photography. And she was like, I need a behind the scenes video. And that's kind of what triggered us to start doing that. She made me do a behind the scenes video. I had so much fun. Kaylin was like, what are you doing over there? And then it turned into the next month we were filming a wedding. We actually borrowed the groom's Canon T3i. We had a T3i. We made a glide track out of PVC pipes.
4 foot long, baby. 4 foot long.
Oh, yeah. But anyway, that was always like, you know, I always try to like remember that that's like the weight of what we're doing sometimes is like we're filming for humans and, you know, there's so many family members there and make sure to capture that. That's why our films are as face heavy as I can get them. It's because I'm like, man, like that's the thing that sparked us. So good question.
Great question. Let's see. The next question I have here, we got like about 10 minutes left here. Christian McGee says, what would be the best way to promote yourself and get more clients when you have shot less than 15 weddings? I thought that was a great question.
I have a session tomorrow at 2 and 4 p.m.
Just follow Scott McKenna. All right, next question. No. Matt, go ahead. You have the mic.
Oh crap. Think about that for a second. Oh, man. Starting out,
you just 2019.
Yeah, I feel like you just have to just shoot a wedding, like just building experience. It's like people are getting married all the time. I'm sure you have a relative, you have a friend, you have somebody that knows somebody that does not have a video, and you could just be like, "Hey, can I film that? I'll do it for free." Like, I literally had a girl in one of my college classes that was like, "Hey, will you film my wedding?" And I'm like, "I've never done it." She said, "Great, awesome." And I was like, $500? Great, let's do it. And I shot for, I want to say like 12 hours straight, and I didn't drink any water or eat like anything, and I wore really uncomfortable shoes, and I nearly died. And I made them like a hour-long wedding film to Lifehouse, and it.
Do you happen to have that anywhere that you could also link in the show notes?
Anyways, yeah, my point here is that just get experience doing that. Thumbtack is your friend if you're starting out. Like, bid on some really low-budget weddings, like just to get experience. You know what I'm saying? Bark.com. There's so many just crazy wedding sites. Craigslist is great. Like, at that point, it's just experience and like finding what weddings you enjoy shooting and getting some portfolio pieces so that way you can put them on your website and you can be like, here's what I can do. Please hire me so that I don't have to do these weddings anymore. I can do higher end stuff.
Yeah, so the thing is we live in such a world right now where things are so accessible and visual and now, and if you're not creating content, people are just going to look the other way and look at somebody else. So if you can go out and just do, that's the best thing you can do. And whether it's for $500 or $1,000 or for free, the best thing you could do is just go out and do.
I would also say, I mean, if you have 15 weddings, that's a lot of great content you can still build out to get more weddings. I would say maybe pull from most of the films and create a strong demo reel and just plaster that at the top of your website, be articulate with the type of couples and the style that you want to film, and then also make multiple edits for like social media or plaster it everywhere as if this is the style that I want to film. And I think the biggest thing too is finding local filmmakers that you can shadow or second shoot, whether that's for free. The big thing is getting on their radar and then blow their minds. Like, do the best job that you possibly can. Like, imagine if you're hiring a second shooter, what would you want from a second shooter? Like, do more than that. Like, because once you prove yourself, that person will remember you and possibly send you leads that they know, hey, I know they can handle it, I trust them, and they're fun to hang around with. So I would say create some demo reels of those weddings that you've already put out to kind of showcase the best work, and then also network with people around you and just get on their radar.
Yeah, I used to go through and like when we were feeling a little slow with our bookings and things like that, I would go through every one of our weddings and write down all the vendors and then send the videos specifically to them. Like, oh my gosh, I just want to make sure you saw this. This is your venue. It was such a beautiful day, and I want you to see how beautiful it was for this couple. And like phrase it like that. You know, tell them, compliment them on how great their venue was, or their florals were, or what we've been doing lately is making edits specifically for them, and then just putting a couple, like maybe 3 or 4 social media edits and throw them into a Dropbox link or a Google Drive link and send them the thing so they can download it and post it and share it. And yeah, 15 weddings is a good enough thing. There is something really nice about doing free work. There's less pressure. And I know a lot of people are like, charge what you're worth. And that comes a little later, I think.
Yeah, I think too, I think we hear it in these groups and stuff all the time, just like, oh, you should charge what you're worth, like to tag on what you're saying.
It's important.
And it's like, I get that, but like if you're trying to get going, if you're stopping by where this is like free stuff here, aiming for over there, like I'm stopping by giving $500 weddings, but I'm going to get over here to $2,000 weddings or $4,000 or whatever. So that is something that's not, you shouldn't feel bad about that.
You shouldn't. There's very little pressure on weddings that are that low. I mean, sometimes they can be harder work, and you're really having to like really work harder. I don't know. I feel like the personalities of weddings at that stage, they were like, you know, I don't really value this very much. Sometimes you would come across that kind of thing. Yeah, and venues. And so sometimes it's harder work, but I just think that there's something really important about like the struggle of like growing your business in the beginning. It's something really just amazing. It shouldn't all just be given to you. Yeah. You shouldn't just say, I think I'd like to do this. I'm going to charge $6,000. No. You charge what you're worth, and sometimes that's still you're in the learning, growing process. So
just do.
Love
it. Yeah. Question in the back. So question just for the listeners. Sorry, I keep doing this. If you're shooting some weddings that are a little lower budget, tips for how to make that look great for your promo reel.
Yeah, so I want to talk about that a little bit because that is rough when you're dealing with, oh, I want to have my business here, but I'm currently here and there's this gap. And oftentimes it's really frustrating. So I think one of the worst things you can do is try to take your existing couples and try to make them something they're not. You'll be so frustrated. You'll be frustrated. The couple will be frustrated because they're like, this is just not us. I feel like he's trying to do something that's different. Your best bet is actually to lean into the free work, but do it strategically. Because I see so many people starting out and they just hear hustle, 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 and they're so burnt out after a year and they feel like they've just made zero momentum. They're just on a hamster wheel. And I think the biggest thing you can do is enter into it strategically. Like, see what is actually being shared on social media and see kind of what is gaining traction, what has some virality about it, and put all your eggs in that one basket and commit to a certain style and go all out with a set amount of weddings or styled shoots or engagement shoots, and make your free work have purpose. Make your free work your passion projects. So like, kind of a thing what we've done with our business, we do passion projects that are outside of weddings, but we like to do passion projects inside of weddings every year. And we actually had a recent client, this was about, I don't know, a year or so ago, and our prices were pretty high. They're like $7,000 or $8,000, and she called us. I'm like, oh, but this wedding is gonna be so amazing. And I could tell she didn't have the budget. It was like half of what our normal budget would be. But I'm like, I know if we do this wedding, it can be something really amazing. So I said, you know what? We're already at a quota. I'm going to do it. I gave her a crazy discount. And we went out there. Amazing wedding. It's one of my favorites that I've ever done. And it's probably made us 40, 50, 60,000 just in marketing from people finding us from that wedding. So I think your best bet is not to try to make your couples be something they're not, but use all that effort that you would spend trying to make something over here and create something totally brand new that you're extremely passionate about. It'll be way easier and go way further.
I also think a huge thing is just make a film that the couple like loves. I think too often we look at like these amazing filmmakers with these amazing venues, and then we try to create and we're like, it just isn't any good. And like stop trying to impress other filmmakers and make a film that your couple loves. You'll get more weddings. Because if they have a really crappy venue, well, they booked the venue. They don't expect to see a venue out in the middle of the forest that when they booked the Best Western. Like, it doesn't work that way. But seriously, like when I did my first weddings, they were ugly places. They weren't probably great films, but the couples loved the films, and our client's the couple. Like, don't compare yourself to Forestry Films or White and Reverie when you're starting out. Like, that's not who you're trying to, like, you're not getting those clients yet. Do the best work you can, deliver an amazing film, and they will love it, which will translate.
So one of the still motion, Muse Storytelling, Patrick Moreau, if you guys know who he is, he said something about that always stuck with me. And it was, if you can watch a wedding film and replace the couple with mannequins and nothing changes, you're failing. So whether it is in Iceland or in a country club or whatever, should always be focused, just like Scott was saying, on the couple, because the couple they're no different than you and me. The couple are having this story this day, whether it's the crappiest venue or not. The focus should always be on that couple, and if you can showcase their story and who they are and their personality and their character, and it's in a crappy venue, that doesn't matter. It doesn't matter where they are. What matters is them. That's the best thing that you can showcase.
Also, you can fix a lot of things by just framing a little tighter, like a little bit more zoomed in on facial expressions and emotion and things like that. That can help you, save you a lot. And then also sometimes changing the aspect ratio on your edit as well to really cut out a lot of awkwardness. That's also another piece of advice.
I always thought it would be a wonderful upgrade solution is to give them a very 3-to-1 compression, and if they want it more, you charge more, and you just keep opening up the space to the full 16:9. It's a premium package, but we start here at the base.
$1,500
Start at a circle. And
I think
open
that David is the only one magical enough to be able to pull off such a scheme. No, we would not do that. But there have genuinely been times when we have fixed or made a film feel much more focused on their faces and expression, and got rid of the awkward noise that's around them or the strange setting just by cropping it a little bit. I mean, if you're filming in 4K, you can get away with that a little bit, and fixing things like that. So it takes a little more time sometimes, but
that's great.
Also, lighting. That's the other thing.
Oh, yeah.
Because that's the worst thing about most crappy venues is the lighting's terrible. So if you light it up, the way that you want it, then that can totally change the look of the venue.
Or like when we once had red uplighting and it looked like the reception was in hell, and we were like,
"This is the reception from hell."
We walked in. It was like maybe the first 2 years we walked in. We were like, "Oh my gosh, is this what's going to happen in here?" And everyone's face was just straight red. And yeah.
What everybody's really saying here is move to California.
That was color. That was we turned it black and white, by the way. Just a heads up.
We did turn it black and white. That's a good fix in case you're.
There's the beach. I mean, it's the sunset. Like, just move to California, okay? If you want to, like, you won't have bad venues then. It's really. David's like, yeah, the films are great there, okay? Like, it's great. Just go to California.
It's so different, the light. Let's take one more question out here, and then I have a question I want to end with here. You guys liking this still? Hanging around, Phil? Okay, cool. So let's do one question here.
You guys do 30-day check-ins? I do, but it's kind of like when I talk to them, I'm not 100% positive on what I should bring up or what I should talk about.
As in 30 days like before the wedding?
Before the wedding, yeah, just the kind of final check-in before, make sure that they didn't change their mind on the vows.
Dude, I got like 48-hour check-ins. I'm like, hey, you guys, you write those letters yet? You
I'll
did it,
admit,
right?
sometimes
you didn't?
we delay
You
a
should.
little.
I guess on that, do you always request the letters come beforehand, or?
They don't have to come beforehand, but usually sometimes people they got a lot on their minds. They got a lot of wedding planning to do. Just gentle reminders and text messages. Love texting.
Unless I haven't been paid, I don't talk to them at all. That's probably not a good thing. I just I build that friendship and that relationship with them in the beginning, but they know my personality. I know their personality. I don't need to go like, hey, what's going on? Like, we're 30 days out. What's going on? Like, no, I'll just show up and I'll just film. That's all I do.
I used to do that. I used to be like very intentional about like getting to know my couples a ton, and then now I'm just like, hey, your money's due, and what's the address, and what time do you want me there? Cool, I'll be there 3 hours late.
I would like literally break out in hives if that was like what I did.
Thanks for coming. So I send
I'm so uncomfortable.
I send a questionnaire automatically a month before that like just has like the details of all the times and all that. And then I always tell them from day one when we talk, we can talk as much as you want leading up to the wedding or as little as you want. I say I will never call you for anything unless I need something. But if you prefer to chat 2 months before, 1 month before, and 2 weeks before, that's fine. But if you don't need to, I don't need to. I'll send you the questionnaire with what I actually need. You let me know if you need anything else.
We kind of do the same thing where we have an initial consultation with our clients and get to know their personalities as best as possible in that consultation. And then from then on out, especially in that last month, I don't want to be the person bothering them. We'll send a questionnaire. And that questionnaire is just like anything. I'll even say to them, if your itinerary covers it, then don't worry about it. But if you want to add in extra notes about things that are going to be important to you, then this is the place to do that. We also do it depends on the client in reality. Sometimes when you're doing higher end luxury stuff, that client is paying the coordinator to do that job for you, to do that job for them so that they don't have to worry about talking to 14 different vendors and things like that. And so we get a lot of our logistical stuff from the coordinators. Are they going to have a sparkler exit or ribbons or no exit at all? And those are things that we are oftentimes sending to coordinators instead lately, just to give the brides a little bit more space.
Think about a bride planning a wedding. She has her family bugging her about stuff. She's got stuff to do with the venue. She's got the wedding coordinator bugging her. She's got the photographer bugging her. She's got her bridesmaids bugging her. She's got dress stuff to deal with. She's got cake stuff to deal with. She's got food stuff to deal with, family drama stuff to deal with. Why would you want to be added to that list of things to like stress her out?
Or like telling them to do certain things. Like we really expect our couples, or we really hope our couples are doing things like reading letters or something like that. I would feel bad to do that.
That's one more thing. Like, oh, geez, I've got to write a letter now, and I got to do all this other stuff. So I've always taken the approach of I want to be the least stressful vendor for a bride, and like that actually benefits me the day of, because when it comes time to something I need, I've built that trust, and they're so relaxed with me. They're like, oh, here's Jay. He's not gonna tell me like what to do. He's not gonna ask me a million things. He's just gonna be like, hey, just do this. I'm gonna do it for him because he's not stressing me out.
You have like the most soothing voice. I can just imagine. But all of those things, those creative inspiration ideas, or like, have you thought about a first look and stuff like that? That happens in our initial consultation, which is happening like a year ahead of time. And then in that 30-day time span, I'm like, I don't want to stress them out with new ideas or anything like that. So
yeah, just to add on to that, with our clients, we do.
You do. Well, that's good.
I said a cuss word. We actually, when we book them, it's usually a year to a year and a half out. I do a 6-month out checkup. I've talked about it on the podcast, and that's where we will walk through and educate them a little bit more on different things we offer. I'm averaging somewhere around $1,500 of add-ons every time I do that 6-month out meeting, so it's been very beneficial. But our vibe is we do want to be there to help hold your hand and make it less stressful. So I think it's just based on you, your personality, what you want to, like some people don't want to mess with all that. I personally get the most fulfillment out of my interactions with my couples. So like I want to meet, I want to text them, I want to say, hey, do you need a vendor referral? Or hey, do you want to go get coffee? Like that's just what we like to do. So there's a lot of different opinions of like what people do, but do you? So that, I mean, and then the 3-month out we meet again, 1 month out we do like a final, like, I mean, we're helping them, and by the time the wedding is over, they're like, I don't know how to would have done this without you. So that's our vibe.
Yeah, I kind of have a similar thing to you, John, is I don't like to overstress the bride because Jay's right, they have a lot on their minds. But it's really style specific. So we do a lot of intimate weddings, a lot of elopements, and our whole brand is we actually want to get to know you. Of course, we don't overwhelm you, but it's so cool when brides come to us. One of the reasons they book us is, oh my gosh, you actually make me feel significant. Like you actually care about me. You're the first vendor who didn't just send me prices or didn't just push me off to the coordinator. You want to have like a phone call with me? Those are our type of brides, and especially for elopements, when we're going to be the only people there on the day. Like sometimes their family's not even there, and we're there, which feels totally weird, but it's like, wow, like we're here. And you chose us to be here. So we have we'll send out a questionnaire 30 days before. We'll do a Skype consultation 30 days before. I do an hour-long phone call right when the couple books, and I write down all the information. But it just makes it so much more meaningful, I think, for me when I find out who this couple actually is. They're able to be way more comfortable with us on the wedding day, and they love that. Because a lot of our couples are like, man, I'm so nervous about having a video person there, a photographer there. Like, they love talking to my wife and I, and sometimes our daughter comes in, and when we're on the wedding day, they just give us so much more emotion that I wasn't getting when I was just kind of treating them like a number.
Mm-hmm. I think that's really good. I do think a common thing is getting a lot of that stuff, that getting to know them thing. It looks like most of us are doing that in the beginning, not and then like later on, a few of the logistical things will either be through the coordinator or through them, depending on the company, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, great question. Anybody else? We're good. So I liked this question kind of as like a final question. And I'd like to hear from everybody. Just D. Barrett Studios on Instagram says, what is something that you want to get better at or are trying to do differently in 2019?
I'm going to think about that one, okay?
I'm really, the last year, have been putting on a very different hat. I pretty rarely have a camera in my hands anymore, and I am playing the role of director on set, and that is a very different and new thing for me over the last year. And so I'm really trying to hone my skill set as a director. And so one of the ways I'm doing that is through a master class subscription, because we get to learn from people like Martin Scorsese and Ron Howard, and that's really freaking crazy. So
yeah, masterclass is an amazing resource if you're looking to get really good at something. For 2019, for me, I think I just struggled with this so much growing up because I just had a huge family, and it was really easy to not live a very present life. So I think in 2019, I want to live as present as possible within every situation with every person that I come in contact with. And just like a personal thing is, I I want to become better at like just writing. I never it was never a thing that I did growing up, and I feel like it's been really beneficial for me and kind of processing a lot of thoughts just by literally handwriting. So that's kind of something in 2019 that I'm trying to get better at.
I think for me, I didn't realize how much I love teaching other people. Like, it's so cool. Like, everyone's kind of mentioned, oh, hey, Seth. Oh, hey. That seeing other people succeed is awesome. Because when I was starting out, I was like, man, I have no one to help me. I just felt like I was just grasping in the dark, making all these mistakes, and being able to, hey, sit down with someone and give them some advice and then see them 6 months later and they're crushing it. I mean, that is amazing to me. So I think one of the ways that I'm going to really challenge myself, me and my wife and our whole team, is how can we create more compelling educational content that doesn't make us look good, but makes you guys look good, and really figuring out how to do that better.
For me, I'm trying to continue to make sure that my couples and my clients are getting what they ultimately want out of what we're giving them, and to not care what other filmmakers and other companies are doing. Because I think it's just so easy to compare yourself to everything and to everyone and never feel like you're doing anything. But at the end of the day, I don't care about anyone except the people that are paying me to actually get them something. If it's client work, they need to get the result they're actually looking for. So it's using my skill sets, using things that I think I'm good at to get them an actual result, or with a couple to get them a film that actually is meaningful to them, and not just something that looks great because I think a drone shot's really cool for the first 30 seconds of a film. Like, if that doesn't actually get them something or bring them emotion, I failed. So I'm trying to get better at just continuing to just block out noise of what everyone else is doing and just stay focused on who I'm serving.
For me, I am in this interim space where I'm kind of wanting to start more companies and kind of running more, like David said, being able to give back to people and helping educate a little bit. I'm kind of wanting doing things from more of like a business perspective too, with less kind of hands-on, whether that's like building up a team and strengthening our brand so that I can focus more time on family and maybe even other things that don't require as much time as before. Also, I'm always looking at growing in different areas, and I really want to fine-tune like color grading for me. A lot of foundational stuff that I'm still wanting to work through, so I kind of want to look for some internships with like colorists and kind of really dive in deep on that. So that's something that I kind of have a personal goal with for the rest of this year.
A lot of my goals for this upcoming year are actually not as much business related as they are personally related. So most of mine are just like working on myself, on my own like emotional healing and physical healing. And I just feel like it's been like a year of healing for me in a lot of areas of my life personally. And so that I think just working on becoming the best version of myself to really, you know, those are all my goals right now. That's not quite business related, but like that's what's going on. So, and it's been really good.
Okay, I just had a daughter 2.5 months ago, so new dad. It's great. It's so awesome. Yeah, I did it. We did it. Yeah. But one of the biggest stresses, like throughout the pregnancy, for me personally as a creative person, is like, am I going to lose my creative time? Am I going to lose my creativity because I now have a daughter, and so she's going to take up all my time? And I feel like a lot of you, if you're single right now, you're like, you have unlimited time to work on your business, okay? Like, you have no distractions at all. It's totally awesome. You get married, half your time is gone. You're not spending time with someone else. You have a kid, okay, that's not divided. You reach J level where you have 4 kids. I don't even know how he does anything at this point, but
Jay, do you sleep at night?
I don't.
But what's so incredible is what I'm discovering is, like, as I am filming weddings still, now having a daughter, I filmed my first wedding since having her last weekend. And I cried like a baby during the rehearsal dinner toast of like the father of the bride. I'm like, I am such a softie now. Like father-daughter dance, all that. I'm like, no, my baby, no. Like I was so afraid that my creativity would be lost, but instead it's been so strengthened. And I feel like a lot of this year for me is going to be finding, people talk about work-life balance. How do you balance your family and your creativity? And a guy I look up to a lot, Ryan Booth, had this great quote, literally on Instagram, where he was literally like, these are not two separate parts of a binary where you have your family on one side and your creativity on the other. These two can feed each other. These two are intimately interconnected. And so he's like, I'm still figuring this out. But don't think that they have to be two separate things. So I'm learning how to love my daughter and still be creative. And it's a lot, but it's great.
All right, guys. I'm going to get deep with you.
Take us home.
Take you home here. So,
Jay, your voice, so good. Jay's going to lead us in some meditation for a second.
So, the last few years, I've been really aggressive with filmmaking and hustling a lot and just going out of town all the time and just trying to build my businesses and just make them bigger and better and make more money so I can eventually have free time to spend it with the people that I love. And what I've realized is it's just for me, it's just like chasing the wind, and it's never going to be enough. And I'm realizing that what I'm trying to do this year is I'm trying to be a lot more intentional about what I'm doing and not focusing so much on building success and making money. I need to focus so much more on living below my means and taking care of my family. And if I can do that, then that's all I need to do. And if I can, I'm a true believer that this life is about relationships with people and not about money, not about success. And so I'm trying so hard to get out of that mentality of, gosh, I gotta build this, I gotta make this much money, I gotta get this and sell it and then make this and then push for this. And I've just been so stuck on that I've realized that I just really need to change my mindset and focus on the people that I love and care about and make everything else as intentional as possible.
Wow. That's awesome. Yeah, wow. You guys like this okay? We could probably do this for another couple hours. So I feel very honored to have even been asked to come to Venture. I mean, I'm just a dude that started a podcast with another dude, and it's so cool to just a couple dudes doing things. There were dozens of listeners. Now there's dozens of thousands of listeners. And so I'm just very honored, and selfishly, being able to be up here with these guys, I feel so humbled and honored. So I was, instead of seeing if I could get a selfie, I was going to see if every single one of you could get out your phone real quick and take a photo of us real fast and just tag How to Film Weddings. If you can do that for me, and I get 100 notifications right now, we'll pose for you. Before you do it though, howtofilmweddings.com is about to drop. We haven't released it yet, so this is secret news. So howtofilmweddings.com. Nick and I have been working really hard on it. It's done. We haven't pushed play yet, but we're gonna have a digital template shop, which we have a lot of cool things. Email templates for your business, budget templates, a lot of things just to download, help you with your business. So I'm gonna pick one person that tags us and give us the whole pack, the 3 that we're starting with. So if we could do a picture real quick, anybody? Yes. What? Already done? All right, so we'll get together. You guys want to stand up?
Oh, guys,
stay sitting down.
We gotta stand up. Are you kidding me?
I mean, if you had a chance to take a picture with all these guys at once, right?
Can I get in the middle?
All right, so here we go. All right, I'm gonna put this microphone down. You guys just take as many as you want. Tag us as much as you want at Heddle Film Weddings. All right, I'm putting this down. Go for it. Bonus points for creativity. All right, one more round. Everybody just keep taking photos. Okay, we're just going to look at each other, pick a friend, and laugh. Oh, my goodness. This is great. Love it. Everybody have a chance for a photo? Awesome. So to everybody listening, thank you for listening on our podcast. Like, share, subscribe, and until next time, we'll see you.